Do you think bumblebees can experience love? What, what would you do if scorpions had wings? That would be pretty scary. You ever think about how, like, sharks will never know the taste of Doritos? You think sharks would like Doritos? What's your favorite food? Okay, what's your second favorite food? What's your third favorite food? You think a flying squirrel or a sugar glider would win in a fight? I bet neither of them have tried your third favorite food. You know, sometimes I see people say that pizza is American and it's very clearly American pizza, and then other people get mad because they're like, no, Italians invented pizza. But did you know Italians didn't invent pizza? Greeks invented pizza. Like the original pizza with like olive oil, that was a Greek thing. The Italians stole it. kind of like they did with architecture and the pantheon of deities that they had. Also kind of took credit for the origins of like where Christianity started, even though that also kind of started in Greece and like Judea. Because you got like the Roman Catholics that are like, yeah, anyway, I don't need to get into that. But like, American pizza is as much its own original thing as Italian pizza is, because neither of those are the original Greek pizza. And Italian pizza uses tomatoes, which were from the American continents anyway. So American pizza is really just as valid. Do you know nachos are like they're an American food? Like that was invented in America. Yeah, it was by a guy named Nazio. Not Nazio. He was a he's a Mexican American, and he had like a restaurant, and he wanted to give people an appetizer before, like while they were waiting for their food, and so he like chopped up some tortillas and like deep fried them. And then that was how nachos came around, because they named him after, they were named after him. So they're like nachos. That's why like Mexican restaurants serve just like baskets of them before you eat, because it's like that was how they were originally served. That's kind of cool. Did you know the English made up their own accent in the 1800s? And then, yeah, so like, the reason Americans sound a specific way and like Canadians kind of sound very similar is because that's how the British originally sounded, and then the upper crust, that's not the word I'm looking for. I mean, it is kind of, but like the wealthy, the nobility, they like made up their own accent to like separate themselves from like the lower class. And so they just started sounding snooty, and then the other areas caught on, and so they started mimicking that, which is why the different British accents like sound vaguely the same, but in different areas they sound different. It's because they're all like different areas were mimicking a specific accent. It's also why Australian pronounce a lot of words kind of the way Americans do, because they originally had like, it was like a penal colony, but so there were people that went over there before um, they changed their accent, and then people then moved there voluntarily, and then from England or the UK or whatever, Britain, um, and brought that accent, and then that morphed into like an amalgamation of the two. That's kind of where the southern accent comes from too, is because you have British that came over after, or the separation of, and that's why the southern accents, which were colonized later than the East Coast, sound more like a slowed down British drawl. Like it sounds closer to the British accent. That's another pet peeve of mine: aluminum versus aluminium. Because like the British insist that aluminium's correct, but the original patent from like the guy who made it said aluminum, and that's what he sent over to the US, and he was filing for a patent in the UK, and they bullied him into changing it to aluminium because they wanted to make it sound more like the other elements like uranium, but apparently just completely spaced that platinum was the thing, or didn't care. I don't know. So like the original aluminum's the original, so, and like what the guy who patented it wanted it to be called. It's kind of the similar origins with soccer versus football, because like the British had a bunch of different games that were that were played with like a ball and your feet, and those were all called football. Like it was just a general term. And then they sent, or like the US got the game. Wait, no, I'm out of order. So they had a bunch of different games that they called football, but then when they made it like an actual sport in its own league with its more defined rules, they called it soccer. And then we got that as a sport, and so we called it soccer too. And then later they changed it and were like, no, it's football. So that one was originally soccer as well. And then the British just changed it and said, no, you're wrong now. After the US got like another game that was called football. Now there's a couple of reasons words are spelled differently between like British and American English. Like color versus color with like COLOR versus COLOUR. So there's like two reasons. One is there was a guy making a dictionary that just didn't like the British, so he kept changing how words were spelled, which is really funny. But then the other reason is because in America there was a time where if you wanted to take out an ad in the newspaper, it would cost you by the letter. So they just started removing letters that weren't necessary to like spell it, which is why color and armor don't have the letter U in them in the English spelling. But like gray with an E versus gray with an A, that's just because some guy didn't like the British. It was kind of funny. I don't even know how I got on that subject. I think etymology is pretty fascinating. Oh, that's also why South African accent sounds a lot closer to the British accent. Is because that was that was colonized later. Like after the accent change, so it sounds a lot more similar. But that's why there's like two like really big accents. Obviously, Welsh and Scottish and the Irish, they have their own accent too for English, but that's just because they also had their own languages. And that'll just give you a different accent, you know. City lights string meat. Yeah, it's kind of a nice view for an apartment that's, you know, about the size of a closet. Could be worse. Yeah. So did you get any interesting cybernetic upgrades recently? Mm-hmm. The one with the eye, yeah. Oh, like the built-in heads-up display in your eye. That's cool. Yeah, I want to get that. No, I'm broke. So can you just like look up any info just like with your eyes, like display there? So you don't even really need to like carry a phone around anymore, huh? That'd be so nice. Like, be a lot harder to steal. Although people trying to steal your eyes would be not fun. I'm sure it'll be fine though. Like, I don't know if anybody would want to steal an eyeball. I mean, I guess I do know why. It just seems like, I don't know, a lot of effort to go through. Are you recording this? Okay, because if you like post it online, it's gonna make like a bunch of Italians and British people angry, probably. I don't mean any offense. I think history's interesting. No, you can post it. It's fine. You know what a weird animal is? Platypuses. They're a mammal, but they lay eggs. But they've got like a duck bill, but they don't really see very well, so they detect prey with like through their the bioelectric impulses. Like they detect bioelectricity, I think, if I remember correctly. And then the males have like venomous ankle barbs. Sorry, because it's venomous because it injects it into you, or maybe it is poisonous. I don't know. I think it's venomous. And then like the females, they don't have nipples like most mammals. They sweat milk instead. So that's pretty weird. And then on top of that, they look like a beaver duck. Those weird little dudes, you know? Pretty cool though. Well, probably time to head to bed. Yeah, no, I got the extra, I guess, bed. Yeah. Okay, well, you take care. I'll see you in the morning. Yeah, have a good night.